Hi, my name is Indira, and my research study is about teens between 13 and 16 years old with oppression provoked by stereotypes that social media imposes. This study is to intend to bridge the scholarly literature gap by checking out social media stereotypes, effect on depression in adolescents aged 13 to 16. This study has merged social media use and mental health outcomes, where areas previous research has isolated social media factors that affect adolescents, self-esteem, and identity formation. The use of social media platforms in the current digital age plays a significant role in the life of your youth. That is because it helps shape their perception and identities and promotes their well-being. Several research work have noticed that social media influence on teenagers' mental health. However, there is still a need to understand the specific impact of stereotypes perpetuated through this platform. The extensive use of social media has changed how adolescents view themselves and interact with the world. Modern digital life has caused this change. The study examined the complex relationship between social media, stereotype, and depression in 13 and 15 years old in dynamic setting. Teens navigate the virtual world with the prejudices that affect their self-esteem, identity, and mental health. Much has been done to study the link between social media, stereotype, and depression. However, past research has not focused specifically on how stereotypes on social media might affect adolescents. This age group is particularly susceptible to the influence of peer and social norms. This study investigates the link between social media and stereotype and depression in adolescents aged 13 to 16 to advance in social psychology. From 16 and to 16, adolescence is crucial for identity formation and social integration. According to this research, social media affect adolescent mental health. Numerous studies, including a scoping review by SIM et al., relate teenager social media use to sadness and anxiety. Social media stereotypes may cause adolescent sadness, although little ignored. The problem statement for this research is lack of evidence on stereotype impact on adolescent mood. Research focuses on general social media affect neglecting stereotype. There is a need for a specific investigation into stereotype impact of depression. The studies seek to grasp the depth of the relationship between social media stereotype and adolescent depression. Scholars have conducted extensive study on the complex association between social media and the psychosocial health in adolescents. Nevertheless, it should be emphasized that there is a lack of evidence on what stereotypical presentation bring about such conditions in teenager mood. So some researchers, for instance, Kelly et al., have reorganized the distress posed to teenagers by the use of social media, including depression and feelings of self-dislike. There is a little depth on exploring the impact of stereotypic images on the well-being of the younger generation. Research literature gives more attention to the general relationship between social media and mental health, while not paying enough attention to the detail of the impact of stereotypes. For example, examination of platforms on engagement with her brother that falls like general dishumanizing on a wide scale were performed by Baker et al. Also assessed and characterized raise awareness of error consequences, including depression. The precisation of stereotypes have been dealt with in a few other words. This study is an effort to close a hard gap in the current literature, which is dedicated only to adolescents between age of 13 and 16, by examining the effect of social stereotypes which are widespread through social media platforms on teenager depression. Also, there is existing evidence about the relationship between social media use and mental health outcomes. This study goes further by taking into account the role of stereotypes, which are important factors that influence adolescent self-esteem and identity development. Research must be conducted to understand the role that exposure to unhealthy and unfavorable online stereotypes may play in the development of depressed moods, low self-esteem, and social withdrawal if internalizing by the age group that is vulnerable to such external influence. Through the course of the first question, the various stereotypes prevalent in online communities at a time when young people engage in online space, most of their time will be identified. Thus, graphing the main essence of this stereotype is extremely important for a proper realization of how they may affect teenager mental state. The second question refers to the phenomenon of subjective experience of adolescents while using social media and respectively the effect of social stereotypes on their behavior. This study will explore how youth interpret and use stereotypes taught to them by identifying how they use and respond to stereotypes. The third question will be about measuring how social media stereotypes pose depression in adolescents. So the investigation of a relationship among variables such as this, the research intends to reveal how social stereotypes develop and facilitate depression among in this population. I use different research methodology. Semi-structured interview will be conducted with careful choice members from the selected subset, a survey as sample participants. Interview will therefore delve into the adolescent mind about their emotional response and strategies in responding to a social media stereotype. Participants will be recruited through partnership with school, community organization, and online platforms. Info and consent will be obtained from adolescents and their legal guardian before participation. The survey will be undertaken in controlled environments such as school classroom or community center to guarantee confidentiality and protection. Quantitative approach will be include familiarity use scale validated for measuring stereotypes on social media, severity of depression, and other relevant constructs among adolescents. The accuracy of this instrument will be verified through possible modification on guarantee, cultural validity, and age appropriateness for the target audience. Statistical sophistication in data analysis to detect possible causal pathways across the system through correlation, regression analysis, and structural equation modeling will be used for the quantitative data. The qualified thematic analysis method will be used for the interview data, and deductive and inductive ways the proposed is to discover patterns, subject, and meaning hidden in the interview done by the participants. The research, in conclusion, reveals that intricate relationship between teenager stereotype and the mental health of adolescents between the age of 13 to 16 years old. The development of this research is to develop a method approach encompassing dairy, laboratory, and questionnaire method as it investigates providing a comprehensive overview of how teenagers are affected by the stereotype in social media, leading to depression. Based on solid empirical proofs developed from a comprehensive examination of the literature, the present research will be substantially contribute to the understanding of mental health effect of stereotyping on teenagers. Based on the conceptual perspective from the social learning theory, social identified theory, and the tripartite model on depression and anxiety. This research is an attempt to shed light on the mechanism through which exposure to stereotypes on social media may be harmful to the self-concept, identity, development, and emotional well-being of adolescents. Moving forward, the current research study on media literacy for youth highlighted the need of implementing evidence-based intervention and support activities for the mitigation of the harmful effect of the media stereotype on adolescent mental health through sensitization and educating teachers, parents, and policymakers about the risks involved in exposure to prejudice online. Preventive action can be taken to promote responsible online behavior and help teenagers be resilient in the face of such aggressive tendencies. Here, the reference that I use in this study. Thank you so much for listening to my research.